Last year, I was an emotional wreck. I saw my period twice for 1 month. I was literally so stressed out. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. I know that sounds weird because you're probably in a shitty space, just like me, but Jeremiah 29:11, though sometimes I do not want to be his strongest soldier, honestly, this man keeps choosing me to be his strongest soldier. Yeah, I got that big energy. Something as beautiful, something as, I can't even find the word, but why is being ambitious so stressful? Wanting so much for yourself can be so stressful. Wanting to not be mediocre can be so stressful. Ambition is supposed to be a beautiful thing. They say ambition is what you need to make it, not true. But why is it so stressful? I remember not too long ago, very early last year, I was literally so stressed out. And it was very hard for me to put my finger on the thing that was actually stressing me. So I couldn't say, oh, it was because I never had any money why I was stressed out, or because of X thing why I was stressed out. I was just so stressed because I thought I needed to be doing more than I was doing. Mind you, I was doing a lot. I was having many wins. I was really doing it, but I just felt like I needed to be doing more. I just felt like I needed to be further along. I felt like I was not really fulfilling my purpose, because when I was in my teenage years, there are so many things I dreamt of doing by 25, and I was approaching 25 and half these things were not done. And so a part of me felt like I was failing at life, even though I was having my wins here and there. They were just not enough, and so I started to become really stressed out. It was so bad that for one particular month I saw my period twice. That has never happened to me, and it was literally because I was stressed out. And if you know anything about periods, then you know a normal menstrual cycle should take place once a month. And seeing that I was having my period twice in 1 month, that stressed me out even more, because not knowing that I was stressed, that thing was stressing me out. So seeing my period twice added to the stress that I was going through. So it's like double stress, because I knew something was going on, but I never really knew I was stressed. I just thought I was ambitious, but I was ambitious and stressed because wanting more and wanting to accomplish so much more was stressing me out. And then I really had to take a step back. I had to take a step back and look into myself and say, listen to me, young girl. Yeah, me have to talk to myself. I have to say, listen to me, young girl. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. You are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You have to trust the process and remember the promises that the Lord made to you. I believe in God. I'm a child of God. I believe in God. I believe his promises are true, and I believe that his plans for me are to prosper me and not to harm me. I had to remind myself of that. So though it feels like I am not progressing as quickly as in my head I needed to, I was still progressing. Though I was not achieving all the things I had set out to achieve by 25, I was working towards it. They weren't all done and shiny and pretty, but I was working towards them. I was not giving myself enough credit for what I was already doing. And maybe whoever you are watching this video, you are somewhat like me, or you are somewhat the way I was, because I'm no longer like that. I don't stress myself out too much anymore. I still stress myself out a little bit, but not to the point where I'm going to be menstruating twice a month because I'm not eating well, I'm not sleeping, and it's just crazy. Brother, when I tell you that I am up at night till 3-4 o'clock just thinking, literally just thinking about all the things I want to do, thinking about how much I want to help my family, thinking about how far I see myself going just as a person doing big things. So me not sleep, me not eat, I'm just I think, I stress out myself. And of course my body I go do abnormal things. And of course me I go start have a series of headaches because me not eat and me not sleep and me not rest my brain. Like my brain just like go. Portia said working. That was my brain. As I said before, I never had any particular thing stressing me out. So there was never a month that came and I couldn't pay my bills. There was never a time when I wanted something to eat or whatever and I couldn't afford it. So that wasn't the issue. I just felt like I needed to be doing more. I just want to encourage you to take a break from thinking about how far you want to go and think about how far you are coming from and where you are now. And then when you have intense gratitude for how far you have come and where you are now, then you are better positioned to think about the future. But with no appreciation for the now, you cannot move forward. So I really had to take a step back and really appreciate where I'm coming from and appreciate all the things I have been through that have brought me to the point that I'm at now. I know it's easier said than done, but it's possible. And just not sweat too much about what the future holds. Just believe that the promises that God has for you are to prosper you and not to harm you. Plan to give you hope and a bright future. And to be honest with you, that's the promise that has been keeping me. Last year, I was an emotional wreck. Like, I just stress out because I just feel like I just not do the things that I'm supposed to do. But really, I was doing it, just not as much as I dreamt of I would be doing it at this age. So by 25, you had plans to have a big old house. You have plans to drive a big nice car. You have plans for you to fly out your parents. You have like these very big plans. And then you are approaching 25 and they don't seem like nothing going on, and you're just like... You're like, okay, what? Wait, what? This is a mess. This is crazy. What is this? What is this? And then you are pulled back, and then you have to remember to give thanks, because honestly, it could have worse. It really could have worse. Some of us had pretty difficult childhoods, very traumatic experiences in our childhood. Some that we still have not really recovered from, some that we have not even started the healing process. And whether you want to accept it or not, you cannot move on until you have really faced those things, until you have really started the healing process where those traumatic experiences are concerned. Because without great appreciation, without great acknowledgement, just understanding of the things that mold us and the things that made us who we are in terms of our mindset and just how we approach things, it's going to be very difficult to move on to a very promising future. It's going to be very difficult to position yourself to win beyond your 20s. My advice to anybody at all who you're in your 20s right now and you're having a difficult time, and you know deep down in your heart that you're having a difficult time because there are certain childhood traumas that you have not really tackled, I want you to start the process of recovery now. The best way I know how, besides praying to God, is seeking therapy. So talking to your best friend is not going to help you to adequately tackle those traumatic experiences. I strongly recommend having a trained person, a therapist, someone who's trained to deal with trauma and to just not make it crush you anymore. Because sometimes you vent to the wrong person about very hard things that you are dealing with, and it just makes it so much worse emotionally. Whereas you could talk to someone who's trained to get these things out of you and to kind of just help to shift your mindset, shift your perspective a little bit. That helps. Think about a wound. It hurts. Yeah, a fresh wound hurts. And you leave it there, and in many cases when you don't put any ointment on it, you don't give it any attention or whatever, it not get better, it tender, and the sore probably get worse. Whereas if you have that wound and you doctor the wound, you start the healing process of that wound, it's not going to hurt anymore once it's healed. But the scar will be there because it's a part of you. It's something that happened in your life that affected your skin, so it's there. When you look at it, you're just reminded that you were strong enough to deal with it, but it doesn't hurt anymore. So if you've dealt with, or if you're dealing with rather, any childhood traumas that is really blocking you from walking into a very beautiful, bright future, I want you to start the healing process now. Speak to a therapist, not your best friend, not your mom, someone who's trained to deal with these issues to help you to start the healing process. And then to my 20-somethings, I just want to remind you that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. I know that sounds weird because you're probably in a shitty space just like me, but I want you to believe that the plans God has for you are to prosper you. Those plans are to give you hope and a bright future. And I just want you to believe that God is going to take care of you. I just want you to believe that because of how ambitious you are, despite how stressful being ambitious is, you are going to get there. And you're going to get there exactly when you are supposed to get there. Sometimes when you try to take many shortcuts, you end up bullshitting. And there's I don't know if it's a Jamaican proverb or if it's something my mother always just say, shortcut draw blood. So sometimes when you try to do the get rich quick schemes or take so many shortcuts towards a successful life, you end up in so much more problems in the long run. So just trust the timing of your life, trust the process, understand that God is on your side. And though sometimes I do not want to be his strongest soldier, honestly, this man keeps choosing me to be his strongest soldier. He keeps choosing me. And if it's one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to march and I'm going to say, yes, sir. Because if you brought me to it, you can bring me through it. So I just try to have faith and I just try to stand firm in the belief that he has my back. I tried my very best to stand firm in my belief that he has a plan for me. Come on, somebody. Hey, we preach, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans, and you must notice on me, I repeat this. I literally live by that belief that God knows what he's doing and that God has a plan for my life. So yeah, we're in our 20s and things not going like how it's supposed to be going. We're not accomplishing all the things that we say we want to accomplish by 25, but we're there same way. We're there same way. And who did tell we say 25 is a nice age to say, oh, we want to do this and that by 25? Hey, I want to find a person they see, because them lie to we. Them lie to we. In so many cases, some of the most successful people in their 20s, they were struggling just like me and you. In their 20s, they were constantly saying, what is? They know what me I do. In their 20s, they were constantly wondering, okay, what is? But then they come out on the other side, stronger, more successful, more poised for greatness, more in tune with their past, more in tune with their present, and having great appreciation for where they're coming from, where they are, and a strong belief that they're headed for further. This is not the end. You're gonna be okay. So there's 20-somethings. When things start to look bleaky, when you start to feel hopeless, I want you to hold on to the promises that God has for you. I want you to remember that his plans are to prosper you and not to harm you. So whenever I choose you as his strongest soldier and you just get testing, temptations, battles left, right, and center, just hold on to his promises and trust that he's going to take care of you. Keep trusting, keep working towards all those goals, because one day they are going to come to fruition. Keep loving life, keep living, so don't pause. Still live your life. Don't put your life on hold, and don't spend all your time working. Make sure you find some time to play. One of my all-time favorite videos is this video from Judge Lane, where she's simply saying your 20s are for you. Your 20s are for making all the mistakes possible. Your 20s are for firing dudes when they don't act right. Your 20s are literally your selfish years. Don't spend it wasting it on anyone else but yourself. You can either learn or learn. You can't fail, because if you learn something from that failure, then it's a win for you. Just do the thing. Be selfish with your time. Travel, explore, fall in and out of love. Dear 20-somethings, don't obsess with what he, she, and the old lady has to say about you. If it makes you happy, if it brings you any joy or fulfillment, do it. These are the years you are going to be extremely adventurous. These are the years you're going to take very big leaps of faith. These are the years that you're going to move to a new country and start life all over again, because you're only 20-something one time. And if you do it right, one time is enough. Again, I don't know who you are. I don't know if your 20s are confusing and messy like mine, but if it is, let's hold on to hope. Let's hold on to faith. Let's hold on to the promise that God knows what he's doing with our life, and we will come out on the other side accomplishing all the things that we said we want to accomplish by 25, but not by 25. Have yourselves a peaceful, pleasant, and a productive afternoon, a peaceful, pleasant, and productive night, and just the best 20-somethings. Love and light always.